Welcome back, duelists, to another 2005 Time Wizard meta discussion. And I'm joined by an absolute expert in the field. Alberto, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Leo, and I can't wait, honestly, to discuss this with you. Honestly, I really like the format, and I keep myself trying new things, experimenting sometimes, and it's always fun. And what can I say? I can't wait to jump into it.
Well, I know that you're playing a lot of Time Wizard 2005 tournaments, so what have you been experimenting with lately?
Well, I have to say that I'm a fan of Chaos Turbo.
Oh, wow!
I mean, yeah, this is no surprise. There's not that much to experiment, maybe, but I have to say, though, that what I really like overall it's Zaborg, which is something that most of the players or most of the lists, honestly, do not have. And I really feel like it's a great addition, especially because Gravekeeper Spy, it's very difficult to beat over. And it's one of those cards, especially in the mirror match, to get rid of,
And don't forget that you sometimes struggle to deal damage. This is why people like to play Dekoichi, because for a Chaos deck, 1,400 attack points is sometimes even a lot. So if you tribute something to go for some damage push with the Zaborg, it's quite strong in the deck. But there are some new meta decks that have been popping up lately, and one of them is the Earth Beatdown strategy. What do you think about that, Alberto?
Well, I lost to that deck recently, and I have to say that the deck is very consistent on one hand, and on the other hand I think it's very centered to beat Chaos Turbo, funnily enough. Why am I saying that? Because basically it plays a lot of monster, like a Goblin Attack Force, Gigantes, there's Injection Fairy Lily, the OG, and especially it plays a lot of cool spells, like there's Creature Swap, there's Nobleman of Crossout, and it's very difficult to play against the deck, especially because the attack monsters are just too big sometimes, and you can't get over it. And also I think it gets even more complicating in the side deck, just because, of course, if your opponent, for example, wins game one, it's even more difficult for you because there are not very specific cards. Maybe, for example, there's Sakuretsu Armor, Mirror Force, Source of Revealing Light, which could take you, can gain you sometimes, or Scapegoat, for example.
You know that the deck is extremely flexible in side decking, as you just said, because I've also seen people just swapping to a Panda control strategy after playing Earth Beatdown in the first game, or vice versa, because those decks share some similarities, like the Giant Red that can summon out the Injection Fairy Lily, or the Gyakugire Panda.
Yeah.
And the Panda control deck actually works different from other control decks. While you usually try to outvalue your opponent by flipping Magician of Faith, getting back a Pot of Greed, or the Graceful Charity, this time you're just stopping your opponent from attacking with Level Limit Area or Gravity Bind, and then you inflict effect damage, which with classic cards like Just Desserts.
No, the deck is great, honestly, as you mentioned, and I'm super afraid of it, especially because I think it has one of the best cards of the format, which is Chain Energy. Like, the thing is, if in game one your opponent has Chain Energy and you don't draw like a Breaker, for example, a Mystical Space Typhoon or Heavy Storm, you're quite likely to lose, especially because setting or activating a card costs you 500 damage. And honestly, if you're playing Chaos Turbo, for example, you have cards such as Upstart Goblin, Thunder Dragon, you have to set your Raigeki Break, and there are certain cards such as Trap Dashut, which is a great card for the format, but against a deck like Panda Control, honestly, may not work out.
And I'm gonna be honest with this siding strategy. Both decks, Earth Beatdown and the Panda Control, share a lot of cards. You're avoiding this weakness that both decks have, and that is being counter side decked. So you said it, if you have Chain Energy and your opponent doesn't have a Breaker or Magical Warrior or a Mystical Space Typhoon or the Heavy Storm, it's going to be really, really tough to compete versus this deck. After the side decking, you can side in Mystical Walks or Mystic Walks and Dust Tornadoes and everything, maybe even a Royal Decree to stop those powerful trap effects. But if you just swap your strategy completely and your opponent sides in Dust Tornado, Royal Decrees, and you just summon a bunch of powerful Earth monsters that are supposed to beat down your opponent, that's really, really tough to beat.
And also, I think you touch over an argument that I really like, and I think it's been exploring lately from some players, from what I've seen. For example, talking about Chaos Turbo, something that has been played a lot lately is Scapegoat and the Metamorphosis for the mirror match specifically. And I've saw some players side decking Asura Priest, Kaiku, because the reasoning behind is, okay, I know that most of the players are side decking these cards, so you know what I'm doing? I'm just, playing cards that I'm going to hurt you. And I think this is the best strategy, because like you activate your Scapegoat and it was like, yeah, okay, I'm fine, I can survive another turn, I have my Metamorphosis, and then they go Asura Priest. And you don't have your Mirror Force, your Sakura Armor.
Do you also have Big Bang Shot with the Asura Priest?
I wish. I mean, no, I feel like that this strategy, if you think about it, is great, because like you prepare for the meta, you're here for the tournament, and all of a sudden,
you lose.
But if you were to play, like for example, you enter into a tournament, you go, okay, today I want to play. What would you play? Like, what's your favorite deck?
I mean, I like the turbo version of Chaos, but what I like more is the relinquished version of Chaos, because you play the Jin. And this one is going to add you, or the Maju, not the Jin. I'm in Necros format already. Yeah. A few years skipped there. No, you play the Maju, you add your relinquished, you get your spell cards, you get powerful discards for your Raigeki break. You're sometimes lacking light monsters, relinquished is light, and the 10,000 hands is lights as well. So you have your graveyard fueled up for that one. So I think I would run that deck. You have more monsters that can attack.
And
I love that.
I also really like it because it's both a control deck, but on the other side it's very explosive, because, for example, your opponent can summon a monster, search the relinquished, and then maybe set one and pass. And then all of a sudden, maybe he has a Chaos Sorcerer, a Black Luster Soldier, and they're relinquished on the field, and then you're like, oh, I'm in trouble, And it's very synergic also for side decking patterns, and I also feel like it's one of those decks which is also difficult to side against, because it's explosive, but at the same time it's a control deck, and it can afford also to play some, like cool interaction. So I really feel like that. Although I think the format is still, trying to evolve itself and finding, new strategies. I really feel like that this kind of formats, honestly, are like not only loved, but people want to improve it, from time to time. So
this is just something that I adore about Time Wizard tournaments. The game keeps reinventing itself. People are never bored of it. People find new cards that have been out for 20 years almost now. So it is absolutely incredible. I hope that this discussion about some decks that have slipped into the format has helped you. And don't forget to check Neuron for your nearest Time Wizard tournaments. See you soon.